Hi everyone, in this video, just a quick one about, I was going to show you all the editing that I'm doing to an individual photo and all that kind of stuff, but I can't be bothered. This is actually more of a beginner's video, a warning video for you guys. Okay, so this is a portrait shot I did of a girl, and over the last about 10-15 minutes I've been doing some of the editing on the actual shot, and most of it's been working on the colours, the exposure, the saturation, the background, making sure that there's absolutely nothing distracting in the background there, and all that kind of stuff, and then just working on just either the enhancement of the colours or the desaturation of the colours and all that kind of stuff. And again, this part of the editing of the image really comes down to individual style, and so if your style is this kind of, well, this one I'm doing here is kind of a bit more of an oldie fashiony magazine kind of look rather than just a straight on headshot. So like that's the original shot. In fact, I'll show you the one. So it's more of a cinematic look that I'm trying to get going on here. So again, the aspect ratio is totally thrown away, and the fact that I'm cropping from the top of the head. Some people say that's going topless. I'm not having an issue with that. The fact that there's kind of blue coming in on the hair, that's one of the looks that I'm going for, because a lot of magazines, or if you go past any old bookshops, what you'll see is that if there's magazines or books that have been left in the window, they lose all their colour pigment apart from the blue. The blue is usually the only colour that stays in an image. I think it's something to do with ultraviolet and infrared lights coming down and just breaking down red, pink, orange, purple and green, but the blue pigment or the blue ink that is in magazines and all that kind of stuff is totally like badass and survives. So the look I was going for this shot is the idea of it's slightly aged, slightly kind of cinematic shot that's been left out in a window, and it's lost a little bit of its saturation, lost a little bit of its colour, and it's gone through that kind of been in a window look where it's gone, and its blues are more the pigment of choice. However, to get there, I've gone through a lot of changes. As you can see, all this stuff at the side. So the original start shot was this bit over here. So if can I show you that? So if I go there and then up, no, I can't show you the original start point. That's kind of how it started. So there you go. And so there's been a little bit of skin retouching, a little bit of eyeball retouching, a little bit of not dark desaturation, but dark lightening, and all that kind of stuff. But it's also a low contrast shot, so you see there's not really any blacks. There's no whites anywhere going on in the image as well. But anyway, what I'm trying to get on about this image, apart from the split toning and all that kind of stuff, is in this image, I am now finally about to go and do the vignette, the post-crop vignetting. Now this is where a lot of beginner photographers go absolutely tits. They go totally overboard and just think, I like a vignette, I must put a massive amount on it. At the moment, I've kind of got it where I want it just now. So that's a -8. I'm not really playing with anything else. But usually you'll have somebody that goes, I love these super vignettes, let's get rid of no, let's make it harsh and square and bring it in a good bit. Somebody might do that, which I would say is cool if it was actually on some piece of film or something like that, but it's not. So for me, and a white vignette. Why? Why is that even an option? That should just never be allowed. Or some people go, I really like a dark vignette. Let's see what they would do there. They would do something like that. And then they always think, oh, if we feather a good bit, then that looks fine. People might think that's a good shot. No. A vignette should be something which nobody notices. It should be almost a subconscious slight darkening of the edges, which no one should really kind of go, oh, I see the vignette. What I can see is that this image already, have I just put a plus vignette? Yes, I have. Is I want it so that the edges are just not as bright as the center. So I'm going to be bringing this down to about a minus, around about minus 10 would be about the max that I'm going to go for there. Midpoint, whether it's kind of in the middle or right to the edges, midpoint, I want to bring that so it's closer to the center there. There's also a couple of different options. I've never really figured out the difference because usually it's not on anything. Like my vignettes are right at the corners, and red and feather, nice and strong. So that, for me, is about the right vignette. If I wanted to add any additional vignette, then what I'll do is I'd use the brush. And with the brush tool, I would just bring it down a fraction, tiny little dots here. Saturation, not really play with that. Clarity, maybe keep that down a little bit as well. And make the brush nice and big. We have an intruder. And the feather part as big as possible as well. And I would just stroke over the area, so here, there, everywhere. And that is pretty much all I'm going to be doing regarding the vignette on this shot. So that's just my little tip for everyone. Is whenever editing your photos and it gets to the point where you're going, I like the shot, let's add a vignette. Just don't go overboard. The more overboard you go, the more it's noticeable. The more that it's noticeable, the more it detracts from the object of your photo. So for most of you, that's like, yeah, totally obvious, Dom. But for some beginners, they need to know this. Hope that helps. Cheers. Bye-bye.